All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another Bible study. Okay, today we are doing Genesis 10 and Genesis 11.
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna lie to you, it was very confusing reading Genesis 10 and Genesis 11 because the down the line, the kids of the kids and the fathers and how many lines is in there is a lot of confusion.
Yep.
But I know that you study it in a different way. You don't just read it, you study in a different way. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. So if you wanted to give an overview of what Genesis 10 and 11 is, and then we can dive into the podcast,
All right.
please do so.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So Genesis 10 is that long genealogy for the three families. And we know that every human on this planet comes from one of those three lines.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of words. It's a lot of names that you go through, and it's very easy to gloss over them. But there's some actual importance and meaning to those names and their purposes.
In Genesis 10, so it starts by telling you who Noah's sons were, right? Which were
We got Shem, Japheth, and Ham.
and Ham. So Sam, Japheth, and Ham, which my name apparently came from Japheth because Jeff T is spelled the same except for the A.
Yeah.
So we place that with E, and then the TH, you push it and then push the E. It's my wife was putting that to me this morning. Saying
cool.
that which I don't know if that's a good thing, but yeah. So this is the confusing part. So when you're reading Genesis 10, it talks about the three line, and obviously they had families and their families had kids and stuff like that. And it also talks about that they're scattered, right?
Yes.
Across the earth. But when you get to Genesis 11, it talks about that there was only one language, right? And then they got scattered again. So were they scattered twice, or was it just once after the flood? Because I'm pretty sure after the flood, I think it says like how many years? 25 years?
I'm not sure the exact number after the flood that those things happened, but I'd say probably a few hundred years ish.
Okay.
Maybe a little less than 100 years.
There's somewhere that they said were I guess the timeline doesn't really matter, but they said in the beginning, once they had kids, they come out the boat, they got kids, and then they started moving in different parts of the world.
Yes.
Right. So why were they scattered across the world? If there were families, they obviously brothers and sisters, uncles. Why not just live in one spot? Instead of being scattered all over the place.
Well, a couple of things. One, the covenant was be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth. So humans were supposed to have dominion over the earth. Two, you have these families, and each family has their own different cultures, their own different preferences, and they want to do things a certain way. So as we see, communities gather. People who like the same things or have the same culture gather in the same area and do things the same way. And other communities spread out. When you read the extra biblical books, like I believe Jubilees and Jasher, they kind of talk about how the earth was divided between the three and how they divided their own and carved out their own regions. And so you have the line of Japheth is where Caucasians come from. They occupied the Caucasus Mountains and Europeans. So most Europeans come down from the line of Japheth.
So not me then. I didn't come. I didn't come from the line. Okay, got it.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
But the influence was the French.
Okay. Yeah.
So the French influence is from the Japheth line.
Got it.
So that was, I don't know. That might have been what your name.
I don't know what my mom used the Bible and she just picked my name. She said my name is sort of from there. So I don't know, but yeah. I guess it was supposed to be JaphetH. But when we went to go get my name, my birth certificate, they spelt it the wrong way. And so in Haiti, you can't change it after that. You can't do anything after that. So she just accepted it.
Yeah.
That is Japhethe. But it's okay. That's my name now. That's what God intended for me. So it is what it is.
Amen.
So Where did the line of Ham and Shem come from?
So Ham occupied a lot of Africa.
Okay.
So most prominently like Ethiopia. And when the Bible talks about Ethiopia, it's not just the country that we know today. It was a large region. But a lot of Africa, and especially the western part and down to like the south part, was Ham's line.
Okay.
And then Shem's line was actually a bit of the middle in between both of those lines. And so Shem occupied this middle area of the world at the time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we don't have an exact map topography of like what the world looked like at that time. And so we are making assumptions based on the maps that we have today, which is probably not what the world looked like at that time. But all of those lines were set, and they picked the regions that they preferred and the way they did things.
They just, was it promised to them, or they just decided to take those regions just their own free will?
I think part of it was divided amongst them. They divided it amongst themselves. So they chose like, hey, and I think in one of the texts, it says that like Noah kind of helped divide it and said like, hey, this land is going to be yours. This land is going to be yours and your descendants. And this land is going to be yours and yours descendants. And they were supposed to occupy those lands. And I'm jumping up ahead a little bit.
Yeah. But it needs to make sense.
Yes. Yeah. But you see, Canaan was the son of Ham, or grandson of Ham. And he occupied land that was not promised to him. And so he took on land that was part of Shem. Part of Shem's line, and was Shem's occupied region. And so when you get to Abraham and he's walking and he's like, go out and see this land, and all this land that you touch, this is going to be the land for your descendants. He's taking back land that was already promised to them.
To his descendants.
Yes.
Or his
from Shem's descendants and Shem's line, there was already promised. And so when you read about the Israelites, and then you read about the people that they fought against, you hear about the Canaanites, the Jebusites, and all of these other nations. Those are Ham's line. And those are Ham's line that took land that was not theirs.
Ooh, yeah. That is very interesting.
Yes.
So Noah, obviously, that's the only people that was living on earth.
Yes.
He decided to spread the land amongst his sons, because obviously that's the only line that was alive.
Yep.
So that way they can occupy it and be fruitful and multiply the whole earth, right? Yes. Because obviously God gave them that power because he's the only person on earth. So Ham's kids decided to take lands that wasn't theirs. And then now God promised Abraham the land again, which was the land that was supposed to be theirs in the first place.
Yes.
So they had to fight for it now at this point.
Yes.
So you had to fight for something that was already yours.
That was already promised you. And understand that by the time Abraham comes on the scene, hundreds of years have already passed. And then also Abraham didn't fight those people. He walked and saw the land, but the land wasn't not given to him. It was eventually, when you get down to Jacob and the Israelites, and then in Egypt, and all of those things have to happen. So it's hundreds of years.
Right.
And so those people have occupied that land and lived there for a long time. So to them, this is our land.
Right.
This is like, it would be like you living in your house for 30, 40 years and someone walking in and being like,
this is my land.
Hey, this is my land. You're occupying my land.
Yeah.
Or I would say more realistically, hundreds of years, and it's passed down. The house has been passed down from your grandparents. And then someone walks in and says, this is not yours, right?
That is crazy.
That's kind of what they did.
Yeah. But what about the land nowadays? Like with the Israelites fighting, Israelites fighting
Israel, Palestine,
Gaza, all those places, and also the United States. Obviously, this land wasn't ours in the first place. Yeah. So what if somebody comes and say, well, this is our land, and then they fight to take this back? What are we all gonna do?
Fight back. Classically, that's what happens, and that's typically how a lot of wars throughout time start. Is I want this land, and you're in my way.
Right.
You either move out the way, or we fight and go to war, and that's pretty much throughout all the history and human history, we war over resources, we war over land, we war over a lot of petty things.
But the crazy thing is, who would be in the wrong? I know this is not in the Bible, right? Yeah. We're going off the Bible right now. Yeah. Who would be in the wrong, right? Because obviously God saw what happened between Abraham and his past descendants, and the land was supposed to be his, and now he has to take it back because that's the new promise that God made him, that he will give him back the land. So obviously Abraham was not in the wrong at that time.
He was not. But
right? So if the stuff that's happening in the Middle East and the stuff that happened thousands, hundreds of years around here, who would be in the wrong if they said this is our land that God has promised us? Like from the line, if you look at the line from Ham, Japheth, and Shem.
Yep.
So who would be in the wrong if the descendants of them was to inherit this land?
The wrong, it would be whoever is going against the Most High. And as well. So but an important thing to understand is the nation that calls themselves Israel today are not the Israelites from the Bible.
Got it.
And that can be a complete detour off this podcast and be a whole episode on itself to talk about who they are. But you'll find out that the real Israelite descendants, to find out who they are, you read Deuteronomy 28.
Okay.
So Deuteronomy 28 is a long chapter.
I'm pretty sure I read it before you sent it. Yeah.
And from there, you will find out who the descendants are, because the descendants were either going to be blessed if they kept the covenant or cursed if they disobeyed the covenant. You read the Bible and we obviously know which direction the Israelites chose. They chose the curses. They chose to be rebellious, stiff-necked, and the Most High gave them so much time. He sent them so many prophets. And what they do to the prophets? They killed them, tortured them, threw them in prison. Some points they repented for a little bit just to go back and switch it up and do the same thing. And the Most High got so fed up with it that he actually executed the judgments that he had in store for them. And so they got scattered. And part of those curses, they got scattered in the nations that they didn't serve. And you look at history, you'll find out who those people are.
Starting from the three of Noah's sons, now they had wives, right? They had kids, and their kids growing up. And then it goes to Genesis 11, when it talks about the uncle married one of the other's daughters. Oh. I forgot. It's in 11.
Oh, are you talking about near the end with Abram and some? Yeah.
So what happened in that? I think Terah became the father of Abraham. Yeah. Nor Ham became the father of Lot. I think it was a little bit later. Terah took his son Abraham.
Yep.
His grandson Lot and son Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai. I knew where it was this morning, but I forgot.
Okay.
Maybe I should read it again.
But so Sarai was married to Abram at the time. When it comes to taking on family members at this time, this early on, when the population's still small, it wasn't uncommon to take on a relative, cousin or so. And it's only until there's enough people on the earth that it becomes a sin to do it. And then when you get to Moses in the Torah, that's very clearly outlined about doing that, about not taking on family members. And there's,
I was going to say, why though? Why is that?
So there's a couple of different theories, and one, obviously this is going outside the Bible and just throwing out a theory here. One of the theories is you start at Adam. Adam was perfect. After the curse, after his fall and sin, every subsequent generation became worse and less perfect. Every time you replicated, made a new baby, DNA got mixed. The DNA became more and more impure, more problems, and you eventually get down to where they were at, where the DNA was nowhere near the quality that it was
before.
But for Adam. And so mixing led to more problems. And so every subsequent generation, you mix, you started selecting for bad things.
Mm-hmm.
And those things could be carried over into the children and lead to problems. That is one of those theories. And obviously that is a reach, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It would, but kind of makes sense in a way. But at the end of the day, the Most High determined and deemed that that was not a thing we were allowed to do. So that's all that matters at that point was that it's not something we should do.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. All right. So I got a couple questions. Okay. Yeah. I know it's very difficult to ask questions when it's just, they're giving you the genealogy. Okay. But I got a couple questions for you. So, I'm going to give you a couple questions from Genesis 10 and then we're going to move on to 11.
Sounds good.
So are the table of nations in Genesis 10 actually accurate historically and
archaeologically?
Yes. Okay.
And yes, in terms of historically of how they came to be. Mm-hmm. And we learn about who the sons are and who those nations come or arise from.
Okay.
From each of those lines. Archaeologically, there's a lot. I'm not an expert in that field, but there's a lot of evidence that kind of points to it. And we see the evidence today where you can trace back a lot of people's lineages back to one of those three sons for the most part. There are certain people who you can't trace back and they have difficulty, and that's because they were scattered. And that is because of the curses in Deuteronomy 28, where we talk about the descendants of the Israelites and what they did. And there's a reason that it's hard to trace back their DNA. What happened with these nations is they stuck together, and the cultures that they had, they maintained them. But as time went on, as wars happened, as trade happened, they started mixing. And it's through the mixing of the different lines that we get who we are today. All of the people we are today. So when you look at people in the Middle East, they are not what their ancestors look like because they mixed with other nations. So like Japheth's line mixed with Ham's line, Shem's line mixed with Japheth's, and et cetera, et cetera. And you created different mixes of people. And so they have different traits, different cultures, and you can't necessarily look at a particular group of people and assume that they look exactly like their ancestors. Unless you have those rare cases where you have the isolated tribes and nations of people where they did not interact with other nations, they refused to mix, and then you can say, okay, yes, they are like their ancestors.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. But is that a bad thing not to mix, or is that you get what I mean?
It depends on who you ask. So if you ask,
give me the two examples on who you ask.
So if you ask most people, they'll be like, "Oh, it's fine. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. We gain things from doing that." If you ask some of the purists or whatever, they would say absolutely not. Biblically, when you ask the Israelites if they were supposed to, the answer is absolutely not. And there was a specific reason he gave. It's because he did not want them to adopt the cultures of the other nations.
That makes sense. But like, if I'm not going against God or anything, but if they did not intermingle or whatever, it would be like Ham's kids mating with their kids, and then mating with their kids. And then it would be down the line. That would be like, to me, that's weird, right? That's very weird.
But that's what happened.
Well, sort of what happened, but it also were intermingled with things like Japheth, Ham, and Shem. Like they're all three, even though yes, they're siblings still. I don't know. It's kind of weird. That's what I'm saying though. If the Israelites says like, if that happened, it would be completely wrong. We shouldn't mix. But they did mix. So that's where they come from. The descendants of the Israelites.
Yep. But here's the thing. When you think about it, so Ham had multiple sons.
Okay.
His sons had multiple children. And so you keep getting these spread apart splits. So you're not getting just sister, brother kind of mixes or first cousin kind of mixes. I mean, probably early on when they first started off the flood, yes, you're getting that. But like when you fast forward 10 or so generations, there's going to be a very wide stretch for how related people were and how many people were on the earth.
Yeah, but we all related as
because we all come from one of those three lines, and ultimately we all come from Noah. Yeah, because it's Noah, and then it's three sons, and so no matter if you're human, you come from one of those three lines, and so you are related to everyone. Yeah, we are all related to a certain degree.
It might be like
yes, it could be yes.
That makes sense. All right, so let's move to the next question because this is gonna be this would go. Yeah, it would be weird to go down the line to see where exactly who we come from. But all right, the next question is: who are the Nephilims mentioned in Genesis 6 doing in Genesis 10? 8:12 with Nimrod. I don't know if that's a good question or not.
All right, so first we got the Nephilim. So if you remember back from Genesis 6, the Nephilim are the offspring of fallen angels and women, human women. They create these hybrid, half angel, half human monstrosities. Some were giants, some were regular size, had powers, and they're the people that we know today in your mythology. So your Hercules, your Poseidon, all of those like stories about these half human, half God beings. That's them.
Yeah.
The scriptures talk about that even after the flood, that there were still Nephilim. So likely what happened is fallen angels went right back to doing what they were doing before the flood.
Right.
And mixing in. And there were some people who would consider Nimrod, who I guess we haven't talked about yet, as a potential Nephilim.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard the name Nimrod, and it talks about like the mighty hunter of the Lord, before the Lord, which I still don't understand what that means, and if he was actually a Nephilim, and what was he doing, and why is he the mighty hunter before the Lord?
So Nimrod is the grandson, I believe, of Ham.
Okay.
Believe so. He's the grandson of Ham. And when it says he was a mighty warrior before the Lord, it means that he was a powerful leader.
Okay.
He was strong. He was good at hunting. And to start, he was obedient to the Most High.
Okay.
To start, he was obedient to the Most High. And then as time went on, he became rebellious. And so when you read the stories of like Jasher and stuff, you get that transition of where he goes from following the Most High to following his own way. And he's what we would consider the first king. He would probably be the first true ruler and the first gatherer where people respected him or feared him and followed him. From him, we get a couple of major rebellious cities that we all talk about later on in the Bible. We get Babylon. The first Babylon was Nimrod. And then Nineveh was another city founded by two bad cities by Nimrod. And then I think it's Rehoboth. I'm not 100% sure their significance, but based on those other two cities, they're probably just as wicked.
Yeah.
But that's who he was.
Got it.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. So was he a Nephilim then, or was he? What was he?
So I would say he's human. Some people would make the argument that he was Nephilim just based on how strong and how powerful he was. I'm not sure which account they get that from because I haven't read that or don't remember exactly what account they got that from. But
gotcha. It was just in Genesis 8-12.
Yes.
So, all right, got it.
You won't get that. You won't get that from the Genesis account.
Yeah.
So the Genesis account will not tell you that. So people who are making that are reaching from extra biblical text.
Got it.
To get that answer.
Gotcha. All right. The third question is, was the Tower of Babel a real structure, or was it something else that we make it of?
It was a real structure.
Okay.
It was a real tower. It was a real major design building able to go up to heaven.
Right.
And we know that it was able to reach heaven because the Most High said so.
So which heaven? Is it like the actual heaven, or is it the sky? Because the firmament, we call it heaven, right? Yes. Was it like because it got to the sky super high? Because we have high skyscrapers nowadays, right? Would that be considered as heaven, or?
So it would be able to potentially reach the throne of the Most High.
Really?
Because based on the Most High's reaction to it, and saying that they may be successful in this shows that they had the ability to do it. And you got to remember that they had fallen angel help. Remember, they're still following the fallen angels, because the whole reason they're even thinking about going up to heaven is because they missed the old ways. Right. And when you read the book of Jasher, which some people are going to argue that it's not the authentic book and all of those things, but it gives an account of why the people chose to build the tower. There's 3 types of people, and let me just pull it up just so I don't get this wrong for you guys. The 3 types of people were those who wanted to serve their gods and put their gods in heaven. The second group were those who wanted to kill the Most High with arrows. And then the third group were those who wanted to fight the Most High.
But why though?
Because from Ham's line, at some point, or what we can gather, is they missed the old ways.
Okay.
So before the flood, people were worshiping these fallen angels. They were worshiping these gods. They were committing all sorts of wickedness. And Ham's line enjoyed that wickedness, or missed that wickedness, or reminisced of it and wanted to restore it. So a lot of them are angry about the flood. They're angry that the Most High put a complete reset and destroyed their way of life. And so there are some arguments that, they built the tower so that if the Most High ever decided to flood the earth again, they would have protection against it. And once again, you can see that rebellion, and that the Most High already told you he was never going to flood the earth and wipe it out again. And they're already just like, nah, screw that. Part of the account from Jasher, he's also mentioning that the tower was so high that it took a year from a brick to reach from the base to get to the top of where they were building. It took 1 year's journey.
To walk up
to
there?
carry it up. To carry it up. So they built this structure so high. And Jasher showed that the people were so obsessed with this tower that if a brick fell from trying to carry it up and landed and killed someone, they would mourn over the brick. They would cry over the brick and not about the person, because they knew how much work went into building this structure. So it was a massive undertaking, and it's not just some skyscraper. Some people, on the other hand, would consider it some type of stargate, like a portal. So some people say that it was not necessarily like a high tower, and they would say that it's a portal, stargate, to transfer up to heaven instead of like just a straight direct building.
This is kind of, my brain can't wrap my mind around it, because how can it be so tall, right, that nowadays we can fly to the moon, right? People can take those, not ships, but those astronauts goes to the moon. I mean, if they're able to reach the moon, and it's that far away, where like if you up there, you can see the earth like a little ball, whatever it is, right? How can it be possibly be true that we built a tower so big that it reached the heavens? Nobody knows where heaven is. Nobody knows where God is sitting at his throne. So how can that even be possible?
Well, it depends on who you ask. So if you base it solely on the scriptures, the scriptures, how they describe the earth and how heaven is in the firmament, it's impossible for the NASA stuff to work.
Okay.
So the thing of being able to fly to the moon and all of that does not work in a biblical standpoint, because in the Bible, the moon, the sun, and the stars are close by and they're within the firmament.
Right.
So they're within the firmament and they're not hundreds of thousands of million miles away. And when you read more of the text, you find that the throne of the Most High sits above the firmament. So there's water between, and then there's the throne, and there's heaven above that. And so it's a bit different from the description that we have.
Yeah.
Of it. So it kind of depends on who you believe. If you believe the NASA story, then the tower thing makes no sense at all, because how could they do that then?
Like, wait, let's rewind again, because I'm still confused. Let's rewind again.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that I guess I don't really know, because I'm still trying to understand, like, how, right? Because I'm afraid of heights. Okay, let's say I even go up on top of this building.
Yes,
I look down; it's super high to me, right? If I go to a skyscraper, that is very high. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it, right? And to me, that's like closer to the sun, closer to the moon, right? But even to go to the moon, even if you fly in an airplane, you are still far away, far away from the moon. And you are thousands of feet in the air, right? Yes, it takes like 1 year for one break to make it to the top, right? To even put it down to continue building it, right? So even that, I feel like they're still not be able to even pass how high airplanes are flying. And that's not even close to reaching the moon or reaching the sun.
Yeah. And so you're saying that based on the assumption that today's technology is more advanced than they were back then.
So you're saying there was technologies back then? Back in
the technology back then was more advanced than we are now.
So
I would say I would say that we are behind.
Okay.
I would say that we are the limitations, because you got to remember that everyone spoke one language.
Right.
Everyone was unified in one. And the Most High says that the main reason he scattered the language was to slow their progress. Because he said that if this is what they're able to do, speaking one language, then nothing would be impossible for them. They would be able to do practically anything. And so the access that they had and the things that they did are far beyond what we're doing right now. And you got to remember, they had fallen angel help.
But how could they have... We're going to go back to that. My brain is just firing with questions right now. How can they have Nephilim still working with them? Because that's Nephilim. after the flood. Or like beast or whatever they're called, the giants or whatever. After the flood, everything was wiped off. Everybody was dead. Every tree was cut down. Everything, there was everything that was gone. So it was now just Noah, his 3 sons, his wife, and the wife's sons. So there was nobody else on the earth. So how did the Nephilim still find their way? Or you know what I mean? Were they hitting somewhere? Were they in the sky flying, with fake wings?
No. So the Nephilim that were pre-flood ended up becoming demons. So their bodies died and their spirits remained. And so those are demons. The new Nephilim that we have are new fallen angels.
So there was more fallen angels after.
Yeah, there's countless. We don't know exactly how many fallen angels there are. We just know that a third of the total amount of angels rebelled.
Right.
And we don't know the complete total that exists. We know from the book of Enoch account that there was 200 fallen angels that started this. 200 fallen angels that made the agreement, and 200 fallen angels that created the first batch of Nephilim. And we know that those 200 angels got chained up.
Okay, so it was basically by bulk. Like God was kicking them off heaven by bulk. So like it would be like 200 at first, maybe more came later, maybe came after the flood. But why wasn't all of them?
Well, because they were kicked out of heaven didn't mean that they were all judged. I mean, look at Satan. Satan is allowed to run around and do his thing. He has not faced his true judgment yet. His true judgment doesn't come until the end. And so that's the same for the rest of his fallen angels in the group that follow him. Some of them haven't faced their judgment. Actually, none of them have faced their true judgment. 200 of them are chained up. 200 of them were so rebellious and they did those things in the book of Enoch that they are chained up until the time of judgment, where they will face their final sentencing. So what they did was so abominable that the Most High decided to chain them up for that. But the other fallen angels, he's allowed them to roam.
But why?
He's allowed them.
Why not put them away?
You can ask the same thing about.
I guess it's free will, but
all right, then why doesn't he put you away?
My same question.
Because that's the way he operates. He's merciful.
Yeah.
He's patient and he's really slow to anger. So when you look at his judgment calls, look how long it takes for him to execute those judgments. Adam sinned. Adam and Eve sinned. How long did it take for them to actually die?
Years and years.
Yeah. Adam lived to 930 years or something like that. The Israelites, if you break this covenant, I'm going to be done with you and you're going to be under these curses. Do you know how long it took before he scattered them?
A long time.
Hundreds of thousands of years. You look at all of those nations that they were told to wipe out and were wiped out. They were doing things for hundreds of years with warning. The flood. The count's roughly 100 to 120 years between the pronouncement of judgment about wiping the earth and the actual execution of judgment. We look at us today. You sin. Are you dead? The fact that you're hearing this means that you're still alive and the Most High has been patient with you. So he's extremely, yes. And so he's extremely patient and slow to anger.
Yeah.
That is why even his fallen angels and the rebellious angels, they are still his creation.
That's true, yeah.
And he's still patient with them. Even though there's no salvation for them, as far as we know, there's no real redemption for them. He's allowed them to continue to do what they want freely. Right. And they will face their judgment accordingly to their actions.
Unless if they change, right? God
we don't. He could absolutely, but the scriptures don't say that, so we don't. So we don't know. So that would be making assumptions or reading. That would be like reading into the text and saying what we think would happen. And who knows? The Most High is the ultimate judge, and he's the fairest judge. So he will judge everyone according to their deeds and works. Actually, we do get a little bit of that. Sorry to continue. We do get a little bit of that with the Messiah, Yahushua, when he's walking the earth and he's dealing with demon-possessed people.
When he says,
the Legion, instead of judging them and destroying them right away, a group of them, he sends into the pigs. He could have sent them to the bottomless pit and allowed them to be chained up, awaiting their forever judgment. There was another man that was possessed, and he's like, "Are you here to torture me before the appointed time?" And Yahushua could have said, "Yeah." He could have pronounced judgment right then and there, and did not.
Yeah.
So the Most High is extremely patient, and that is why those fallen angels are not all like chained up.
Yeah. Yes. So okay, understandable now. Yes. I get it. So now we move on to the Babel, right? Yes, they probably had those Nephilims, those giants helping them build this massive skyscraper.
Yes.
So God, who all-knowing. I know we went through this before, okay? Because obviously Noah had to go through it all-knowing. He knew that Noah had to eat from the tree. He knew that all those things was going to happen, right? So knowing that they were going to build that, why didn't he change their language from the beginning, from the first brick that they laid down? You get what I mean? Because why did he have to come down to see the city and to be like, okay, if they can do this, they put their heads together, they can do this.
They can do anything.
They can do anything, right? But he's God. He created us in his image, and he can do anything. So therefore, we can't do as much as him, but we can do anything that we put our minds to if we truly put in the work and we have him. Well, I guess if some people have the devil behind them too, they can do a lot. But if we have him on our side and we put our minds to it, we can do whatever we want. From the first brick, why didn't he just say, okay, I know what's about to happen, and I can let that happen. Let me stop it right now. Why let them build this massive skyscraper or massive tower to be as close as they did to the throne?
Yeah. Well, we don't know exactly how close they got. Right. Two, this once again goes back to the Most High's patience.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that you're going to commit crimes. He knows that you're going to be rebellious and sin against him.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he gives you opportunities. He gives you every opportunity to change and turn back. That's the whole thing of repentance.
Yeah.
It's turning away from your sins. So he doesn't judge you right away for your sins that you're about to commit.
Mm-hmm.
He gives you the opportunity, even as you're sinning, every opportunity to turn back.
Yeah.
He allows you to keep going. If you're still alive, he allows you to keep going, puts people in your way, puts obstacles in your way to stop you. And if you choose to just go right past all of that, you can end up getting judged. Mm-hmm. But even in all of that, his hope is that you turn away.
Mm-hmm.
His goal, here's the thing about hell. People talk about hell and say that, hey, how can a loving God and creator create such a terrible place and outcome?
Mm-hmm.
No, hell wasn't designed for humans. Hell was not actually created for humans. And that's something that's written in the book of Enoch about hell was actually only reserved for the fallen angels.
Yeah.
It was only reserved for the fallen angels, and not a single human was supposed to take part in the lake of fire.
Mm-hmm.
But through our free will and rebellion, many people are going to go into the same judgment as Satan. And that's Satan's goal. Well, Satan's goal is to be like the Most High, but he's trying to take as many people with him
as possible.
Yeah. So the Most High could have very easily saw the brick being laid. No, we're shutting all of that down. Mm-hmm. He could have stopped Nimrod from the beginning. All right, you're getting too prideful. You're powerful. You're doing this. Everyone's rallying behind you. Yeah, let's put an end to that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how he operates.
Mm-hmm.
He gives people our free will and his patience. And we should be thankful that he doesn't operate like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he did, then none of us would be alive today.
Right.
None of us would be standing. I mean, there's a scripture that says if the Most High was to mark sin, no one would stand.
Mm-hmm.
So
of course,
no one would exist. So he gives us our opportunities. He gives us our chances. And he tries to stop us before pronouncing his judgment. He does not enjoy judging people.
Mm-hmm.
He does not enjoy destruction. I should say, he does not enjoy the destruction that comes with judgment. He wants to judge for rewards.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what he wants. He wants to give rewards. But he's a fair and just God, so he rewards according to our actions and according to what we do. And the thing is, he doesn't really give us what we deserve.
Yeah.
He does not really give us what we deserve. When it comes to punishment,
he's patient with that. Yeah.
Very patient with us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until you really study it out and walk that you can see the patience.
Yeah.
That he has with us. So
yeah. Which thank God for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because we deserve a lot. We deserve a lot.
Yep.
But move on to the tower again, right?
Yep.
You said that the technologies back in the day is well advanced than the technologies that we have now.
Yes.
So what happened that we lost these technologies, and how can I get my hands on one of those technologies?
Well,
I don't need to use for bad, okay?
Well, now we're going down some of the conspiracy routes. But when you look at some of the evidence of the technology and design that's more advanced back then than today is their ability to understand the sky, the sun, moon, and stars. They were able to tell when things were going to happen. And remember, in Genesis 1, that's what it's the sun, moon, stars, and sky. That's literally what it was for, to tell time and to tell signs. So you knew when danger was happening because you could look up at the sky and it was evident that was happening. You knew when approaching earthquakes. You knew when these things were happening because the sky told the story.
Okay.
We are not that good at doing that now. Look at buildings. When people travel and they go to these historical, massive buildings, whatever, they are all like, you're going there because you're astonished. You're amazed at how amazing they are, how well designed they are. And a lot of those buildings, there's just no way, or I mean, really hard to prove that was just using a chisel, hammer and a chisel,
like the
to
old,
make that. Yes.
The old
like some Flintstones. Some Flintstones. It is hard to say that when you look at these buildings and cathedrals.
Yeah.
If you go down the rabbit hole of like looking at the Tartarian Empire and Tartaria, you see a lot of these buildings that were well beyond the buildings that we make today.
Yeah.
Like we build buildings today, and I mean the apartment.
But could it be like we get lazier and lazier as time goes on?
That is a good point. That is a good, decent argument, is that we build things quickly and we don't build things to last.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also the argument that we may not be able to build as well things to last. Or the argument would be it costs too much money, too much
we just
time.
Greedy, just trying to save as much, spend less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you look at houses today. The houses that are being built up, they're being built up quickly.
Yeah.
But do you feel confident that those houses today would last 100 years?
Right. Which is not more likely.
Yes, unlikely. And yet you see these massive structures that are still around for 1,000+ years that survived hurricanes, that survived earthquakes, that just survived all kinds of nature. And so it's hard to believe that that was just chisel and stone. Or why don't we do that today? Why don't we build things to last today like they did back then?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. That would be reason why. And then when you also look at the discoveries that we make today, you find like artifacts that show that the people were already aware of those things. So like the planets and things, they already had, before telescopes were supposedly invented, they already had designs for these planets and have things like the Saturn. But we can go on that. That's more fallen angel stuff. But Saturn has this black cube at the top of it. There's a black cube at the top of the planet, or permanent hexagon. That's on the top of it. And many nations and people already knew about it and worshipped it before telescopes existed. Before it was supposedly discovered for us modern times.
Right.
They were already worshiping that cube.
Mm-hmm. So they had to
they had the technology and they had the understanding. And when you read the book of Enoch, it tells you that these fallen angels taught them a lot of things that they were not supposed to learn.
Right.
So they learned how to make weapons. They learned.
Could it be like not technology, but a way? Because we are supposed to be spiritual as well, right? Yeah. So we can see in the spiritual realm if God allows us to open our eyes and see these things. Like we can see things because our souls and spirits supposed to be part of that world too. Yep. We just are in the body, in the world. So we only see what's in front of us, but we have the ability to see far and beyond. What if those fallen angels showed them how to move from this world and also have a part of the spiritual world, and they're able to see these things? What not like, you have those, like the phones were actually created back in the day, but something happened that we lose it all. We lose those, the scripts or those, what do you call it?
Manuscripts or
those things.
The written history of things.
Right. Yeah. So like, what if all those things are lost, but some people found it and kept it to themselves and created it again? But what if it was actually like the fallen angels that taught us, or not us, because I wasn't part of it, taught our ancestors how to see these things. You know what I mean? Instead of like the actual.
Yep. So a lot of things to unpack here, but one of the main things.
I know. My mind is flowing right now. That's
yes. So one of the main things is that we are spiritual beings, and we have access to the spiritual realm because we were designed to have access, and the Most High allows us to do that.
Right.
So you can enter the spirit realm two ways: via the Most High, or via the devil in your own ways. And that's what witchcraft and occult stuff is entering by means outside of prescribed by the Most High. And when you do that, you're opening yourself up to demons and fallen angels, and you're allowing them to play in your life and get control over your life when you play those games.
I don't want to sidetrack you, but how do you get into the spiritual realm with God's help? Nobody cares about the witchcraft stuff because I don't want nobody to know about that. But for a believer that's watching this podcast right now that wants to see angels, right? Which I've never seen angels. That's one of my things I really truly want to see. It's like an angel to just appear, not the devil. I don't want to see that fallen angel, but I want to just like the angel appears to Jesus's mom, Mary, appears and talk to her and then disappear. Yeah. How can somebody see that? How can somebody, because there's a lot of people that say, oh, Jesus appears to me and talked to me, or Jesus sit next to me and he talked to me, or, you know what I mean? So how can you access the spiritual realm to see these things through Jesus or through God or through Yahweh, because God is not his name?
Yeah. So first, let me quickly answer the angel part. The angel part is, you never know. You may have interacted with angels and just didn't know it.
I thought you were an angel when the first time I met
you. Like the book of Hebrews talks about, be careful how you interact with strangers, because you may be entertaining angels unaware. So that random homeless person, that random person, that could be an angel. So you don't know how many angels that you've interacted with in your life. And you probably won't know until Judgment Day how many angels you interacted with, or the ones that are going to give account. Because remember, they're there to help you, but they're also there to judge you. So when you start doing stuff and acting up, they're like, oh, we got a blessing. The Most High's like, all right, I got a blessing lined up for this, my son, my child. Angel goes, tests you, and you react the wrong way. Angel goes back. Man, your son ain't ready. Your son ain't. Your son needs to be. He needs some more time in the fire. He needs to stew up a little bit. He's not ready for the blessing you got lined up. So angels do that, or angels protect you from danger. Like you're going down that path, and all of a sudden your car shuts off for no random reason, all because the bridge was out. And like there's just so many stories of those kind of accounts. Those can happen. Now, in regards to access in the spiritual realm and all that. When you're spending time with the Most High, you're praying, you're talking with the Most High, you're hearing his voice, you're talking in the spirit, you're operating in the spirit. That's what it is. When people say they can't hear the Most High's voice, that is the time that you got to check why that is. Because sometimes it's sin, whether you know you're sinning or unknowingly sinning, and that sin can separate you from the Most High. There's scriptures that talk about how the Most High won't hear your prayers if you're actively in sin. So you gotta correct the sin. You gotta check your sin. You gotta make sure that there's no active portals for sin in your life. You gotta remove negative influences and people that may be pulling you to sin away from you. The next thing is fasting. The way to get closer to the Most High draws close to those who draw close to him. Fasting is a great way to get close to the Most High.
I tried fasting one day. Well, I was doing it with my wife once a month. And every time we fast, I get so hungry. All I could think about is the food. Yes, we prayed every 4 hours. But I'm like, food. You know, that's what my mind was going back. But please go ahead.
And fasting, you're denying yourself, you're denying the physical, and you're getting access in the spiritual. And interestingly enough, as I've been reading more and understanding the Torah more, it turns out that all of these things that he has lined up are for your benefit. And so even though you're like fasting and you're denying yourself for food and you're like, you need food to live, you're doing a whole ton of health benefits for yourself. The body heals itself. The body gets better. The body processes things a lot better during periodic fasts. And actually, periodic fasting is part of some protocols for weight loss and for treating a lot of injuries. When you fast for longer periods of time, you start, oh, dang, I'm sharper. Like I can see things clear. I can understand things more. So you get these like physical benefits just for being obedient. But the more important thing is, you can better understand and hear the Most High when you're denying yourself. When you're denying yourself food and things like that, and you're deciding to dedicate your time to the Most High draws close to you. And you can hear his voice better, and that's going to give you more. You're going to be, you're going to better be able to see the spiritual realm and understand the spiritual realm when you're operating in the spirit. That was the big thing, is getting the Holy Spirit. because with the Holy Spirit, he teaches you.
Yeah.
And he's the one who allows you to commune with the Father. So now you don't need a priest. You don't need the high priest that go into the holiest of holies to go talk to the Most High on your behalf. You don't need a prophet to do it. Guess what? You're the priest now.
Yeah.
You're the priest. And through the Holy Spirit, now you can do that. You can access that. In terms of getting these crazy miracles to happen, that's the Most High. That's on the Most High to decide what you need and to do what he needs to do. Your prayers for answered prayers. I know this is a little tangent, but for answered prayers, the reason a lot of people's prayers aren't getting answered is because they're asking the wrong thing. They're not praying correctly.
Yeah.
The Lord's Prayer is a really good outline. And when you mature, you're going to start finding out that you should stop asking about your will and start asking about his will. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, his will is the only thing that matters.
Right.
And so when you stop asking about your will and start focusing on his will and what his will for your life is, all of a sudden you're going to see a whole lot more miracles and things happen.
But how do you ask him for the will, for his will for your life when you don't know what it is, but you also want things to happen in real life that you think that you need? You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's say I need a new car, right? Okay. To go to work. So I know his will for my life is probably not the new car. Maybe it's something completely different, right? Maybe it's a TV. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, right? Yeah. Maybe it's a TV, but I need a car to go to work because I live in this world and I know that I need the car to go to work to do these things. But for him, he says, you need a TV because you need to watch this podcast. You get what you know what I mean? No? Like that's what I'm saying. So he's going to give you the TV, but not the car when you need the car to go to work. And he also thinks that you can walk to go to work. You get what I mean? But the TV is what his will is. So how do you ask for the car? That's why most people say their prayers is not being answered because they need a car, but God think they need a TV. And that will benefit them more, if that makes sense.
Yep. So here's a couple of things. When you ask, you have to ask with faith and without doubt. So you're talking to...
Before you move on again, that's another thing, right? I strongly ask God. That's another, sometimes I say it true, sometimes I'm just making stuff up now. I say, God, I need $100 billion.
Great.
And I strongly believe that you are my father, my heavenly father. And in my heart, I believe that you will send it to me, right? Yeah. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but I strongly believe it. Yeah. And a year passed by, 5 years passed by, 10 years passed by, I still don't receive $100 billion. You get what I mean? So how do you believe with your whole heart and believe with faith that you will receive it? Well, right, and then you'll get it.
Why do you want $100 billion?
Well, I don't want to. I personally,
I'm just using your example.
Yeah.
Using this example. Let's run with that. Let's run with that example.
Yeah, let's run with that example. Yes. So I want $100 billion. One, I need to buy a few houses, right? So that way I can have an empire. So that keep making money.
Understandable.
I need $100 million because $100 billion because I need to take care of my family, so we can travel the world and go to mission trips, right? So without worrying about money. Yeah. I need $100 billion because if I'm walking past the street, somebody say, hey, can I have $5? I can hand him $100 and say, be blessed, have a great day. Or however much I have in my pocket that he needs. Yeah. That's it. Or I just go and I hear somebody's story. Man, I'm struggling to pay my medical bills. I'm struggling to buy a car because I need to go to job and I need to take care of my 5 kids, 6 kids or whatever. Yeah. Hey, your years is paid there. Okay. There's $100 million. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like those type of things. I mean, I don't want $100 billion just to sit back and just say, look at these peasants. You know what I mean? That's not my heart. That's not who I am, right? Okay. But I don't know about everybody else. But I know I want some money because of these things. I want to do these things. Okay. I mean, even now, with what I have, I still do these things, right? Yeah. Somebody call me and say, hey, I need $50. I have $100 in my bank account and I know I'm going to get paid next week. I'm like, yeah, bro, of course. There's $50. I know you need it right now. That's why you're asking me. Okay. You know, I don't question it. Yep. You know what I mean? But it's like, you ask God, you're like, hey, God, like, for the future, right? For the future, I know I need like you know, a couple houses to like be able to
right.
get some money coming in instead of like, you know, every week, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So how could I get that prayers answered? You know, not just for me.
No, I know what you're saying. It's like, I'm not laughing at you because it's like messed up. Because, hey, if the Most High decided to slide me $100 billion,
hey, come on, man. Come on.
Hey, I would be pretty happy. But let's rewind back to what is the will of the Most High for your life. So, the things about it is, you look at the example of lottery winners. Why do lottery winners go broke in 2 to 3 years?
Because they don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to manage their money. They just indulge all of it, don't want to give it out, and they just want to spend it on random stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with anything. You know, you need to get assets, not liabilities. Come on now.
Exactly. So if you're not a good steward with a little bit of money, why would he give you a whole bunch of money?
That is true,
You're just going to destroy yourself. Here's another thing. The Most High is not going to give you stuff that's going to lead you away from him.
Ooh, yeah.
So if he knows that giving you $100 billion is going to take you on a path far, far away from him, he's absolutely not going to answer that prayer. Absolutely not. If that prayer gets answered, that was the devil. That's the same thing for your job. That's the same thing for the car that you're asking for and all of those things. If he knows that that is going to lead you far away from him, he's not giving it to you because he loves you. That's what a loving father would do. Just like if you knew your kid, let's say, was grown up, and you knew that if you gave them $20,000, that they are going to go blow it on hookers, strippers, get drugs, and then end up completely in a terrible place. What kind of father would you be to give them that money?
That
you would be
sense.
You would be a wicked, unwise, foolish father. You would be foolish to do that because if you want the best for your children, you would only give them the best. You would only put them as to your best of your ability. You would only try your best to put them in the best position possible. So sometimes a loving father has to say no. And he says no to a lot of those things because, one, no matter how great of our dreams or missions and stuff that we're like saying, he knows our hearts.
Right.
So even if we're saying, oh, I'm going to give all this to charity, I'm going to do all this stuff, he examines the heart. He's watching what you do with the money that you have. He watches what you do with your current situation. So, like you said, like a homeless person's on the street. And say you do have the means, how do you react? Do you go right on past that person? Does that person even cross your mind at all? Or do you try to the best of your ability to help them out? Because if you don't do that with a little bit of money, you're not doing that with a lot of money. As much as people like to say, money doesn't change people. All money does is amplify who they are. It amplifies the heart that they already have. When it comes to building this empire, what are you building the empire for? If you're looking for the future, is that what the scriptures tell you to do?
Well, the scripture does say to leave your son.
It does.
Stuff.
But what's more important? It tells you to seek first the kingdom.
And all the things will be added to you.
It tells you to build up treasures in heaven. So if your heart is not even focused on building out your rewards in heaven, why is the Most High going to answer that prayer about you building stuff that's temporary? Even though it sounds good, and it is good. Please do not get me wrong. You should build and take care of your family, build for the future. You should do that. But we're not promised tomorrow.
Right. That's true.
And at the end of the day, money is a tool. Money is a made-up concept because the government could decide today that the dollar is meaningless and worthless. And you go into your bank account and that magical imaginary number right there means absolutely nothing. They could decide that at any moment.
Which they will in the future.
And they will. And there's going to be a transition and money means absolutely nothing. So, boom. You're getting an asset that doesn't exist. Tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow is a made-up concept as well. You're not promised tomorrow. You're only promised this very moment.
Right.
So you don't know what's going to happen an hour or so from now. So you should
be hoping $100 billion in my
So we don't know. when you look at the Lord's Prayer, look at the outline. It is, first it honors the Father.
Right.
Says where he is. Gives praise to him. Like, hallowed be thy name.
Mm-hmm.
Then what's the first thing?
Your kingdom
Thy
come.
kingdom come.
Yeah.
Like, that is the only thing, the most important thing outside of giving honor to the most important part right there. Mm-hmm. That is the prayer that you're supposed to answer.
Yes.
Thy kingdom come. What are you doing to advance his kingdom? What are you doing to prepare for his kingdom? See, now, if you ask the prayer, if you prayed properly, but if you're praying according to the Spirit, you're asking for things to advance the kingdom. Mm-hmm. If you don't know how to advance the kingdom and what skill sets and talents that he's given you, you would ask him, hey, what are my talents? Can you give me those talents? Can you equip me to properly handle your will? Because I guarantee you, if you ask that prayer, he answers that pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. So how do you say it again?
You ask that kingdom come, that will be done. And so you ask.
No, you said something a second ago. You said if you ask, I know the prayer, right?
Yeah, okay, yes.
But you said if you ask.
Yes, if you ask him, what are my talents?
Yeah, right.
And what am I to do to advance your kingdom?
Yeah.
Like, what skills? I don't know what direction I should head, and I don't know what I should do. If you ask those kind of prayers, he answers those pretty quickly. He answers those very quickly. James says, ask for wisdom. James says he asks for wisdom because he freely gives it. Mm-hmm. And you ask that prayer, he gives that quickly. Mm-hmm. Those things that are designed to advance his kingdom, to make you better and closer to him, he answers those prayers quickly. And the thing about the things that we need, a lot of times the things that we think we need are not what we truly need. Yeah. He answers our needs, and then there's times he answers our wants too. There's sometimes he gives us things that we have no business needing and wanting, and he gives it to us because he likes to reward his children. Yeah. And he ideally wants us to use those to bless other people. Mm-hmm. Like, ideally, if he rewards you with that $100 million, $100 billion, the goal is that the overwhelming majority of that money goes to helping other people and not yourself. This does not mean that you don't reward yourself and enjoy enjoy yourself to a certain degree, because he does want you to enjoy yourself. Mm-hmm. But think about how you can advance his kingdom. Think about how you can help his children. Yeah. Think about helping your neighbor. Mm-hmm. And your neighbor is anyone you come into contact with. Right. So anyone you come into contact with is an opportunity to be a blessing. And you don't know what prayer that person is asking for. Yeah. And you are the answer. Like, you are supposed to be the answer to that prayer that they are struggling with. Yeah. You never know. And if your eyes are not focused on him, you are going to miss a lot of those opportunities. But if your eyes are focused on him, you're going to start looking at things very differently. Your approach is going to be very different. You're not just going to see that, homeless person, whatever. You're going to say, oh man, that's someone created in the Most High's image. How can I be a blessing to them? What skills? I mean, it doesn't always have to be money. Sometimes it's just simply talking to them. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a simple conversation with them. And the thing is, when you're helping the Most High, the thing that's always surprising is how much benefit you get out of it. You try to be selfless and do things for your own, and you get rewarded significantly. It's so much more satisfying when you help other people. Yeah. Even those times where you don't feel like doing it, it's always been worth it. Yeah, it feels always been worth it. Yeah. It's always been satisfying. And I look back and I'm like, dang, I'm glad I did that. Really glad I did that and not do my own stupid, selfish,
blow the money and something else. Yeah.
I'm stupid. So that is the thing about those prayers. Forgiveness, asking for forgiveness for ourselves, and then forgiving other people. A lot of times we sit around harboring unforgiveness. We walk around with it. We say we forgave someone, but then someone mentions that person's name.
You just be furious.
And you start getting angry. You start feeling some type of way. That ain't forgiveness. Yeah. Or if that's what you call forgiveness, that's the type of forgiveness the Most High is going to have for you lined up. So on Judgment Day, when you're like, hey, I've accepted your son. I did all these things, and I'm sure glad you forgave my sins. And he's like, yeah, I forgave you the same way you forgave so-and-so.
So for somebody, to be clear, okay, for somebody who has something against somebody and they forgive them, right?
Yeah.
So how do you know for sure that because there's sometimes some people do stuff to you.
Yeah,
you forgive them, but deep down in your heart, you're like, if this person comes near me again, I won't know how I will react or how, I don't know what I would say to that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, even though that person, you just like free to go, whatever. But if that person comes near you, like, I don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, I have forgiven you. So like, you know what I mean? So how do you exactly forgive so that you can get forgiveness from the Father?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Big thing about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is not a removal of consequences.
Okay.
So someone wronged you really bad. This does not mean that you forgive them and you're just all buddy and like nothing ever happened. That's unwise. Like, let's make an example of money.
Okay.
Someone stole a whole bunch of money from you.
$100 billion.
$100 billion. They took the $100 billion away from you and had no remorse, and they blew it all. They wasted it all. You could forgive them.
Right.
But that does not mean that you wake up the next day and another $100 billion just fell in your lap again. Somehow, some way, it's a miracle. You got another $100 billion. That you go loaning that money or leave that money to that same person. You don't know. That is unwise.
Right.
You got to move with wisdom accordingly. But when you forgive them, here's the way to know that you forgave them. If you're asked to pray for them, what kind of prayers come out? Is it, hey, I hope that the Most High blesses you, or I hope that you come back to the Most High, or I hope that your walk with the Most High improves? Is it that kind of prayer? Or is it, man, I hope you get exactly what you deserve. I hope the fire, brimstone, all the stuff.
Someone pray that in the first place, right?
Yeah. Like, I hope all the things that you deserve for the way that you wronged me happens to you.
That you go into hell.
Yes, that. Like, I hope that happens. I hope the Most High doesn't hear your prayers. Are those the kind of prayers?
I feel like there's some people that praise like that.
Yeah, there are people that pray like that, and there's people where that's the thought.
But I don't think those are the true followers of Christ. If you pray like that, that's
exactly. You got to check your heart.
Yeah.
You got to check your heart, and this is why this is why you take up your cross daily, because just because you say you follow the Most High does not mean that it is a sunshine and rainbows. You are a perfect being. You are going to have to check yourself every day.
Yeah.
Every day for the rest of your life, you have to constantly check yourself. You have to constantly check your heart. You have to constantly weigh your actions. You got to constantly watch out, because if you don't, it's so easy to fall back. It is so easy to like mess up, slip up. And when you do, you got to quickly get back. That's why it says the righteous may fall 7 times, but gets back up. So you have to get back up. So if that is something that you're struggling with and you're like, dang, that is something that I'm harboring unforgiveness in my heart. I'm struggling with that. That is something where you need to work on it. This is another good prayer. You should pray about that the Most High checks your heart, checks your forgiveness, make sure that you do right by them. Right. And then sometimes that forgiveness means that sometimes you have to go approach and say sorry. Yeah. Like, hey, I want to clear the air. I want to like be on good terms, whatever those quote unquote good terms are. Maybe those good terms are we shake on it, we are done with whatever happened, but we don't necessarily interact with each other. We go our separate ways. I have my life this way, your life goes that way, and that's it. And that may be the forgiveness that is necessary for that situation. So every situation is going to be different. The degree of how you forgive is going to be different. And if you're walking in the Spirit is going to check you on that. Yeah. The Spirit's going to check you on your forgiveness. So if you're harboring and that conscience starts working at you and gnawing at you, that means that there's something more to do for your path to forgiveness. Yeah.
Because for me, right, like I can forgive somebody, which if they need help, I'm there. Like, yes, I'll help you. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that, like, if I see that person, in my mind, I don't like, bro, like, like, I don't want nothing to do with you. But the spirit of me is like, if this person needs help, you need to help them. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, my heart is like, man, this person wronged me. I don't want nothing to do with this person. Yeah. Like, why they're asking me for help? You know what I mean? I'm a person like, bro, if you need help and I'm able to give help, I'm there. You know what I mean? But even if you wrong me or not, but that thing in my heart or my mind is still like, I can't forget that past. You know what I mean? So, because I don't want to go in front of God and be like, well, it's still in your heart. It's still in your head. Yeah. I can't forgive you because you didn't 100% forgive this person. Yeah. Even though, you know what I mean? Yeah. Even though 100% like, fine, whatever happens in the past happened, but I'm not going to give you the opportunity again to do the same thing, right? But at the same time, I don't want to go to God and be like, well, it's still in your heart. It's still in your mind. You didn't forget. Because God says he forget our sins. And
he does forget our sins.
And forget, whatever. So,
But he calls for us to have wisdom. Mm-hmm. And so, here's the thing. We are called to love everybody.
Right.
We're not called to like everybody. Mm-hmm. And there's people that we're not going to get along. We're not going to mesh well. And that's okay. That is okay. The personalities clash. And especially if interacting with that person leads you to sin, don't force an interaction like that.
Right.
Try to fix the relationships as best you can because you cannot control their actions.
True.
You can control your actions. Mm-hmm. So control your actions and the way the Spirit's telling you to proceed. Always ask the Most High for guidance on how to interact with them.
Right.
Because if the Most High says, hey, forgive them, but do not interact with them anymore, don't interact with them anymore. And that is. And leave them be. Pray for them. Like it says, pray for your enemies. Mm-hmm. Pray for your enemies. And it's not pray fire and brimstone on your enemies. It's like pray that your enemies repent and forgive. Because here's the thing. When we mess up and we go to the Most High for repentance, how do we want him to respond?
Hey, we want them to respond how we want them to respond, how we would want them to respond.
Yeah, we want the Most High to be like, man, you're good.
You're good to go.
I get it. You fell short. Get back up. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Or do we want the Most High to be, man, this is the 5th time this week.
100 times in a minute.
Yes, I've been tracking you. I don't know how many times had to teach you this lesson. Yeah. Like how many times do I have to teach you this lesson to like get it right? Mm-hmm. And you keep messing it up. You know what? I'm done. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of dealing with you. I'm out. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't want the Most High to do that.
Right.
So we best not do that. It's a battle and it's hard. And I'm not going to say everyone's situation is cookie cutter. Mm-hmm. But hey, sometimes that is something. Sometimes the Most High puts that obstacle in your way to get you to the next level, to grow into a certain dynamic. He puts that situation so that you can learn from it, so that you're better off for your next challenges that are going to come up in life. Mm-hmm. You learned how to navigate this situation, and then something big happens in your company or something like that, and you're like, I've grown a lot from a previous situation. Now I know how to answer this or know how to handle the situation better. Mm-hmm. So people are difficult. There's a quote one of the friends talked to, a mentor mentioned that church would be a lot easier if it didn't have people in it.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, because as people, we all have our own experiences, our own personalities, our own dynamics, our own approach and view of things. Yeah. And the more you interact with people, the higher the likelihood that you're going to clash on something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay. Yeah. Clashing is okay. Disagreements are okay. What's not okay is harboring hate. Mm-hmm. What's not okay is retaliating with hate. Mm-hmm. That is not okay. Reacting in the spirit is how we're supposed to do. Look at Paul. Paul in the Bible, him and Barnabas were cool. And then they had a disagreement and they went separate ways on their ministry. Mm-hmm. The apostles disagree with each other. People are going to dispute. We dispute with families. There is not a single person on this planet that has not had a disagreement with family members.
Yeah. That is true.
We're going to do that. That is expected. Yeah. That is part of life. You're married.
Of course.
You're going to have disagreements with your spouse. Like relationships, you're going to have disagreement with your partner. Like that is just the dynamics of life. And that's the dynamic of being a human being. But how you react is the only thing that matters. We can blame people for what they did and all the wrongs and blah, blah, blah. We can go down that path. Yeah. And we're all guilty of doing that. And like you go to the Most High, it's like, well, look, they did this to me. They did that to me. And the Most High can pull out the laundry list scroll that just keeps going and going about how often you messed up for him and how you did him dirty. But thankfully he doesn't. And the only thing he cares about in that scenario and situation is, okay, they did that. I see it. But what are you doing? How about why did you respond that way? That is what he's going to be looking at. That's the actions he's going to check. He's going to be like, why don't you do this? Why didn't you approach him like I want you to approach him? That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing we could change. And that's the only thing we should think about in those situations is how can I correct my actions? Yeah. So
that is beautifully put, man. Yeah. Even though we moved away from Genesis 10 and 11, but this was great talk, great, amazing chat. But we're going to have to end the podcast because it's already 3:24 and we got another podcast coming up. But thank you so much, man, for being here today and going through Genesis 10 and 11, even though we moved past it and talked about something completely different, $100 billion and so on. But it was great talks, great insight, and I can't wait to cut this podcast and watch it over again at home with my wife because she's going to laugh and find a lot of value from this. But I love you, baby. I love you, my wife. I love you, my son. Because my son watched this podcast too, by the way. He loves seeing me on the TV for some reason. But amazing, man. I thank you for being here, and I hope that you get something from me, whoever is watching this. And I can't wait for next week. Genesis 11 and 12.
12, 13. 12, 13. Thanks for having
12
me.
12 and 13, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much, and let's have a great day.
All right, man.
Awesome.
All right.
Let's go.